Coming up next is Marvel News number 93, and we've got stories on, cancellations, a whole raft of cancellations of books that Marvel has recently come down the pike with. Also, the return of Sabretooth. Sabretooth is coming back to the Marvel Universe, and the return of Black Cat. Also, we've got stories on a couple of cross-gen properties that are going to be kicked down the road just a little tiny bit, not forever, just a little tiny bit. And somebody from Showtime is coming to Marvel. All that and more after this.
Brain surgeon to bongo drummer, we all love Marvel News.
Cool. If we could only stop the dripping. Marvel News, episode 93. Children of the Brussels sprouts.
Hey folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for Bocephus.
Marvel News.
Marvel News. And Marvel News is coming to you from Alternate Reality. This place, which as always is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all new comics, including all my Marvel comics, including these comics we're about to talk about, are always 15% off every day for everyone, including you, right there. Right
Oh,
there.
not him.
No, him too. Him too. Him too.
He's a
Everyone.
jerk, but he gets it.
Everyone. Our first story up involves not the return, but the ends of a bunch of comics that Marvel produces. They've killed them, they've canceled them, they've slit their throat, they've thrown them out in the ditch. They're going to watch them bleed to death.
I'm bracing myself.
It is sadder than sad.
There's bloodletting.
What's been next?
Well, Marvel said earlier in the year that they would be cutting down the number of books they will be doing in the year 2011. And at the end of this year, they announced the books that are going to be going away.
Yes.
Avengers 2.0 ends with number 12. That Plan of Alpha Flight
Avengers 2.0.
Iron Man 2.0.
Iron Man 2.0.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, say, what the hell is Avengers 2.0?
But War Machine will be appearing somewhere else.
Okay.
Remember they said Alpha Flight was going to be a regular series after the limited series is over with?
Yeah, a lot of people were looking forward to that
Nope.
Alpha Flight. What?
Nope.
What?
Limited series
What?
is over. That's it.
Ugh.
They're done.
That is so sad.
The 8-issue miniseries, The All-Winter Squad Band of Heroes.
Yes.
It was supposed to be 8 issues.
Yes.
Issue 5 was the last issue.
That's the last issue. And you know why I know this? Because I strip cover returned 1 through 5 about a week ago here at the store. Because the sheets came through on it. And the reason I was able to do that is because it was solicited as an 8-issue miniseries. And Marvel decided retroactively that they're not going to publish the last 3 issues. So therefore, every dealer in the country can strip cover return their copies of 1 through 5 that they got sitting on the rack and send them back. So if you've been sitting on your thumb about All Winners, it might be too late. They could all be gone.
So they won't end the story? The story
6 and 7 are actually completely done. The artist was working on issue number 8. What it is that Marvel looked at the numbers and realized that it really wasn't worth their time to publish the rest of it. So they killed it. And the reason it's returnable is there are people who are going, well, I got the first one, I got the first 5, and this is an 8-issue thing, so it's in my comic box as 8 issues. If there's only 5, the issue it was never done, so therefore you can kill it and say,
well, no, the reason it's returnable is when dealers such as myself here,
it's a promise. They make a promise.
When we sign off our numbers on a book, we're signing off on that book being exactly what it's solicited as in the previous catalog. If it's solicited as an 8-issue miniseries, that's what we're signing off on. And if Marvel decides we're not going to finish the last 3 issues, well, it's not an 8-issue miniseries anymore. They've broken their end of the contract, which is fine, because then they allow the rest of it to be returnable. So if you haven't sold any, strip them, return them. We'll give you credit on it. No harm, no foul.
And the same deal works if there's a book solicited with a specific writer-artist team, and they replace the artist.
Exactly.
Since it's not what you actually signed up for when you ordered it, you can send it back.
Exactly. If they're doing an 8-issue miniseries and the artist is slow and they got to switch them up and they have to change the artist on the book, those remaining issues become returnable.
Now, you also had a couple of limited series that never got published. The Doctor Doom limited series by with Becky Cloonan,
Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Doom, and Nick Spencer's writing. Canceled. Never saw it. There was also the remember we talked about the Destroyers limited series that Fred Van Lente was doing with all the big characters and the old character.
Yeah.
No, never got solicited. Actually, the Doctor Doom miniseries
it was never solicited. The Doom was
last month.
Yeah, the Doom one was
solicited.
And
they killed it before the solicitation and things. Now, there's a possibility we will see these in trade form since they are done. Although that may not be till late next year when they go, we got inventory stuff.
Oh, I will bet you what Marvel will do with these is they will take them and they will put them online as online exclusives.
They'll be digital books, right? And then they'll get whatever money they can get out of the digital sales. Then they'll go, okay, we can print.
And then at some point they'll do a trade paperback. It'll be just the opposite of the way the system's set up right now.
And then, of course, the other big cancellations are Dak and Dark Wolverine, Black Panther, The World's Most Dangerous Man, Ghost Rider X-23. All those books have been killed effective February. Those books are over with.
So those all have at least one more issue
they've
as
got
of this.
yeah,
as
they've
of this
got more
taping.
because actually X23 and Ghost Rider are part of this big Venom event in February. So all those books will be over at the point where the Venom event starts. Punisher Max will also end in February, but that was Jason Aaron and Steve Dillon's end for the series anyway. They only were going to do 23 issues, and that's the end. And that 23rd issue, that Frank Castle will be dead.
Oh, they're killing that
They're going
Frank
to
Castle?
kill that Frank
Oh, really? Okay. Well, the Punisher Max, that takes place on a parallel Earth
Yeah, it's just one of those like
of some sort, and that always has.
It exists in the Max universe, which is their own specific adult.
Well, Marvel's got 86,000 Earths. It's
Right.
on one of them. I don't know which one.
Now,
It's been assigned and slotted into.
Right. Now, if you're wondering why books get canceled, Marvel's ceiling is 20,000 copies. If you don't sell 20,000 copies a month, you do not justify your existence as a sales thing. In fact, Axel Alonso said, we don't do R&D comics. Some of these
What is an
characters-
R&D comic?
you stick a book out, let's say X23, it's had a limited series and it had a second limited series. Then you gave it a book because you figured people bought the limited series and people would buy it as a regular, part of their regular pull.
Yeah.
But then people didn't do it. Dakin's a character who has a lot of people who like him, but they don't buy the book on a regular basis, so it gets killed. Ghost Rider, we tried it again. New female Ghost Rider. Old Ghost Rider's still around.
Well, just about all these books that we're talking about are niche books. Ghost Rider, Victor Von Doom, Black Panther. These are all
Destroyer,
Alpha
all
Flight,
this, Alpha
Destroyer.
Flight. These are all books that appeal to a very specific audience, and that audience didn't go over 20,000 people.
And so, for those of you out there who are complaining that why are they canceling Black Panther, I really like Black Panther.
You weren't buying the damn thing.
You weren't buying it. If you do not buy it, it will not come. I swear to God, if you do not buy it, it will not come. And if you're, I get a lot of people who come into the store, and I ask them why they're not buying a book like Black Panther. They go, well, I don't like the artist on this book, and it's like,
Okay, well, you
if
just
you're
killed
waiting
it.
for the Dream Team to come
Right.
along, you're never going to get the book. These are the same people then who complain 6 months later when there's no Black Panther book. Why is
Where's
Marvel
the
doing
Black Panther book?
Because every
you
time
didn't buy it.
because every time they do one, you find a reason not to buy
Right.
it.
Now, some guys are going to screw, but Rob Williams was writing Ghost Rider and he was writing Dakin. He's an exclusive, so they'll give him something else to do. Scott Clark was drawing Ghost Rider. He was a Marvel exclusive. They'll give him something else to do because there's an opening on Daredevil, so maybe he'll wander over to Daredevil. Okay. So I mean, you've got people with exclusive contracts who have nothing to do because of these cancellations, but Marvel made it quite clear: we don't do R&D books. If this book isn't selling,
Anymore,
then it doesn't exist. DC, I mean, in fact, when Alonso talked about that, DC did a lot of DC books were those books. They were books that were out there on the odd chance that someone would go, let's buy this.
Zatanna.
Right.
Zatanna's
Right.
a perfect example of that. Zatanna was a member of the Justice League, so she had sort of a following, but it's a magical book. It's a female book. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but you have got to go out and buy the book if that's what you want. If you want a magical book, you've got to buy a book like Zatanna. If you want a book that has a strong female character, you've got to go out and buy it. If you're not going to buy it because you don't like her costume and she's a strong female character, well, you are out of luck. You're not going to get one.
But that's it for the cancellations. There are also some delays. The Route 666 limited series and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the cross-gen books.
Yeah, the cross-gen
Those have been pushed back to 2012. The same number. Those cross-gen books, according to the sales figures I looked at, first a couple issues sell about 11,000. It goes down to 4,000 or 5,000. So Marvel goes, we'll get them, finish them, we'll put them out at some point, but we don't have to put them out now.
Well, that cross-gen stuff, that's essentially
And
them.
that's a niche thing too.
Yeah, that's very much a niche thing. That's essentially Marvel trying to refloat that copyright from Disney.
Right. We
I
own
would
the
assume.
copyright. We got to do a book.
Yeah.
Disney owns the copyright. Disney owned the copyright before they even picked up Marvel, so we got to get the thing out there. We'll reimagine it, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it,
Which is the
whatever.
reason why Marvel went so deep with a 4-issue miniseries for each one of those things.
Because
a solid 4-issue commitment.
Because 4 issues come out and you can put them out in a trade,
Yeah.
and then it sells in the secondary market.
All except the one that I was collecting when it went under was Sojourn. They've never picked that story up.
That is, well, there's supposedly some other cross-gen stuff that they're going to do, and Sojourn may be part of it, but right now the people who came in and they pitched certain things, and so these are the books that the people came
This
in.
doesn't make it look good, them not being able to sell any of those Sojourn
Well,
characters so far.
Ruse sold well enough to justify another limited series, and that they want to keep Mark Waid happy.
Yeah.
But so in Sojourn, I mean, you'd have to get Steve McNiven to draw it. If Steve McNiven drew it, a Greg Land drew it, it would sell.
Well, maybe that's what they're trying to get done.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a Venom event. What is the Venom event that's coming up at Marvel?
February is a big Venom event. It'll involve Venom. It'll have Ghost Rider, Hulk, and X-23.
Okay.
Now, what's going to happen that month is that Venom is going to ship once a week. 13, 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4, 13.5.
That's really stupid.
Well,
that
but
numbering is really stupid.
But Vertigo, it's the same thing that Vertigo's doing right now with Unwritten.
Yeah, but Marvel started with the .1 thing.
Yeah,
Marvel
so,
started with
so
the
basically,
0.1 thing.
but basically, it's like, well, the series has been canceled, so it'll have a big Venom on the top of it. The first issue of that's going to be like 30 pages, and then you follow it up, and that big event will apparently take place, of all places, Las Vegas. Something apparently
Vegas, baby!
Apparently Vegas is going to be a big part of the Marvel Universe in 2012. Something's going to happen
Great.
there, and that's going to go from there.
Well, it's the nexus of all hell.
Well, that in fact, I mean, the new Scarlet Spider book is based in like Arizona, so I mean, I think Marvel's going to go. Let's focus on the American Southwest for a while instead of going to New York, which is where most of the stuff takes place.
Now, Tim, when a book like that comes out, and
Who?
Who?
Comic book man.
Oh,
man.
yes!
When a book like that comes out, week after week after week, and the price point is what, like $4.55?
What book?
The Venom special book.
yeah.
Once a week. Does a price point hurt that sales, or is some guy just going to keep plunging down $5?
If it's a $2.99 price point, no. As the price point starts to go up, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that first issue is 30 pages. It might be $3.99, but the
That's
other
what I
issues will
mean.
be $2.99. But if you're a fan of those particular characters, the covers for those issues will probably have the characters that are there.
They're just asking you a lot to pour all that into 1 month's worth
Basically,
of
what they're doing is February is when stuff starts to pick up a little.
A little bit,
Yeah, and so they figure, and Venom is something that apparently there's internal buzz, and sales are relatively going well in the Venom book. And so their attitude is, we're going to do this little event. Because fifth week events is something that both companies used to do.
Yeah.
And they don't. I mean, this was a fifth week this month.
Yeah,
The
nothing.
comics were
And there's nothing
25 cents,
specific
but-
about it. I mean, it's just like, okay, you had an extra week, great. So that means you had a week where almost nothing shipped, like this
Oh,
week,
right.
because
Pretty much,
you had an extra week
I
in
got
the
you.
month.
So it's filling in on a week.
So yeah,
Slow.
the companies used to do a
Times
big
are
deal
slow.
about that and have this big event show up that last week and go, well, this week this is the only thing that's out, big Superman event.
Well, Marvel has the pattern where first issues are $3.99, then subsequent issues after that are $2.99. So you have to pay for the first issue $1 more, but then after that you get subsequent issues. Usually, not always, but usually for $2.99. It seems like they're doing the same pattern with this Venom thing with 13, and then 13, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those
Here,
are $2.99.
13,
50%
4,
off.
then it actually
15%
there's
off
no,
it?
there's no 13.5, it's actually 14. That's what it is.
Okay, we've got 2 stories on the return of 2 characters to the Marvel Universe who've both been away for a little while. First up is a guy who died, who nobody stays dead in comics forever, who's coming back, and that of course is Wolverine's best buddy, his best pal, his bosom, his blood brother.
The guy who at one point was rumored to be his dad,
His dad.
which is not true anymore.
And then of course is Sabretooth.
Sabretooth will be coming back.
Surprise!
Jeff Loeb and Bianchi, who killed off Sabretooth, are
Yeah.
going to bring Sabretooth back in the big,
Who else?
huge, oversized Wolverine 300, which will have a story with Jason Aaron and art by Adam Kubert and a whole bunch of big deal guest stars popping up for this oversized anniversary issue.
Now over in the Spidey universe, Black Cat is coming back to the Spider-Man universe. Now you may ask yourself, well, where's she been?
She's been off somewhere while Dan
Away.
Slott, she's been away, but she'll be coming back in. It'll be a crossover between Amazing Spider-Man and Daredevil. It'll be a crossover with both books. Dan Slott has nothing to do with this. This will be done by Mark Waid, Emma Rios, and Kano. And what happens in this 2-issue mini crossover will affect events in both titles. There's going to be a lot of Daredevil crossovers. You've got the Spider-Man crossover. There's going to be a Punisher crossover as well because Mark Waid and the guy who writes Punisher get along quite well, and so they said, well, they're going to have the two of them hook up together.
Well, Daredevil.
Daredevil.
is surprisingly popular in this incarnation that Mark Waid is doing, and so Marvel is pushing him out there.
Yeah, and they're doing the alternate. I mean, Marcos Martin was drawing Daredevil. He's no longer drawing Daredevil because he's off doing a special project over at Image with Brian Vaughan, so
Yeah.
they're going to have to add another artist to the rotation, and that's why I said maybe it'd be Scott Clark because he's an exclusive, he can draw Daredevil, and he's got nothing to do.
Okay, last story we've got involves a property. Marvel is doing a property. Marvel hasn't done properties in a long, long time.
Except for Castle.
Except for Castle.
Well, that's a Disney thing.
Marvel's the people who originally brought us Star Wars in comic form, in Battlestar Galactica in comic form, Star Trek. They weren't the first ones, but they sort of brought Star Trek back in comic form. Marvel used to do tons and tons and tons of movie adaptations. Then they stopped because nobody bought the damn things.
Except for the John Carter thing. But yeah, nobody buys
TV adaptations too.
Star Wars, I bet they bought.
Yeah.
Marvel is bringing a TV character to the pages of the Marvel Universe. Well, at least to the pages of comic books.
Dexter.
Dexter.
And actually what's interesting about this is the book will be written by Dexter author Jeff Lindsay. He's writing the book. They don't know who the artist is going to be, and for all
Well, isn't that like the Castle thing?
it's the
That's
Castle
being
thing.
written by the.
Well, no, the Castle thing was actually Disney came to Marvel and said we'd like to do this Castle graphic novel. So they got Brian Bendis and
Yeah.
Kelly Sue McConaughey to write it, and it's about a character that the next thing that book doesn't even involve Castle. It involves a character that Castle writes about in his book.
Okay.
But that was something that tied in, and they advertised it on TV, and they advertised it during the show. Apparently, they were like, "Hey, go buy this graphic novel; it's out there."
Okay, but Dexter's being written by.
Yeah, he's going to be written by Jeff Lindsay. Now, if you're going, oh, is it going to be like the TV show? No, it has nothing to do with the TV show because the Dexter character existed in books long before the people at Showtime went, let's do a show about a serial killer. So it'll be based on the books, not specifically the show.
Is he going to look like the character from Showtime, or is he going
If-
to look like whatever the books may have
If they
imagined?
can make some kind of agreement with the actor, yeah. If they can't make an agreement with the actor, no.
Okay.
He might though. I mean, because I don't think he has a problem with it. I mean, no one's actually walked up and asked him about it yet, but I don't think he has a major issue with it. I'm assuming if Lindsay walked up and said, you know, we're gonna do this comic thing, and we want the guy to kind of look like you, and he'll go, well, is he gonna kind of look like me, or is he gonna look like me? And he'll go, well, we kind of look like you. Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, the next question is going to be, how big is the check?
Well, yeah. I mean,
And of course, if it's big enough, there you go. You're in.
You just pay me for looking like I look. It wouldn't take me.
I mean,
that
if you look at
couple of dollars,
yeah, I mean, if you
yeah.
look at the actor who plays Dexter, I mean, you know, this is a guy who was gay in 6 Feet Under, and then he wanders over to Dexter, and we go, we didn't know he could play evil like this.
Give me another revenue stream. I can do Comic Cons. I can sign books and stuff.
And yeah, I'm assuming that will be part of it. They'll be doing cons.
Okay.
You pop up at a con or something.
And that's it. We're done. We're finished around here. We've got no more Marvel news, but you can go to the store's website, check out all of this man's news that I post up on the website for Marvel Comics. And where's the store's website at?
Sarah!
www.myalternatereality.com. Think of what could happen if you don't go.
So, stop off at the store's website, check out all of Bo's Marvel Comic news, and until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And this is Bo.
Saying,
Bye, Harvin Kane!
bye!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.